I know some of you wonder what kind of nature we have. I've often wondered. I'm telling you, the biggest puzzle to me was understanding the nature of the Bilalian people, or Afro-American people. Some of you don't like the term Bilalian. It's okay with me. If you like the term Afro-American, then we still can talk. But you know, even the term Afro-American was a compromise. Afro-American. Why cut the word short? Because the niggers wasn't ready to say African. They were afraid to identify with Africa. So Marcus Garvey, Afro-American. That's cutting the word short. That's just like an Irish-American calling himself Ir-American. The Irish-American, he's not afraid to use the whole name, Irish-American. And I'm telling you, until we get that same kind of respect, get rid of that old fear in us, an unnecessary fear, an uncalled for fear in 1978. We have to get the courage and appreciation for realities, for truth, to say African American, because that's what we are. We're African Americans. Now, I don't like the term African. You know why? Because the Caucasian gave the continent that name. Now, I ain't gonna stand here all day with you and try to convince you. You go do some research. And if you don't find it, when I see you next year, I'll tell you. I like the term Bilalian. What's wrong with the term Bilalian? I was on the program with a so-called black man. Now, he had black skin. I couldn't deny it. His skin was black. He told me, said, do you think you're going to get people to call themselves Bilalians? I didn't even ask him. What in the heck do you think I'm out here spending all my time on it for? He said, why can't we call ourselves Frederickrians after Frederick Douglass? I say, well, if you can get the people to accept that, I'll join you in that. And then we'll debate the value for us, the superiority of the terms for us later. But let's make the decisions right away. I'm tired of looking for a name. Politicians can't hardly speak to us. Afraid to call us Negroes. Afraid to call us colored folks. Afraid to call some of us black. Yeah. So we are just a people all torn and separated from ourselves with those silly ideas of ourselves. Shallow definitions. Definitions that are shallow, that haven't taken into account the history of the people, the cultural development of the people. We haven't taken these things into account. So if we study the personality of the whole people, of the ethnic group, and study their development from the time that they were brought, connecting it with the history that they were brought from originally, then we can come up with some terms. We can come up with some names that not only my ear can hear and accept, but the inner ear that my soul can hear and accept. And that's important, brothers and sisters. We can't get anywhere just trying to satisfy, please, the voice box that is in the ear. We have to please the voice box that is in the heart, that is in the soul of our people. And I'm telling you, as long as you're coming up with shallow definitions that go no deeper than skin, you are not going to satisfy the majority of us, and those that buy it will have to one day give it up for a term with deeper meaning and with a deeper history. Let me read from you photostat copy of a document, and this, we can bring you this the original document too. We know where to go to get it. But not today. Sometime in the future, when you run into me and we both have time. Says here, written out from memory by Deen Mohammed. Now let's see, let's go on. We want to see who this Deen Mohammed is. You think that's somebody the chief name. Let's go on. A Muslim slave of Sapelo Island, Georgia. Portions of the message by Abu Muhammad Abdullah Ibn Abi Zayd al-Kirawani, a standard legal work by a North African author, included the end papers of slave songs of the Georgia Sea Islands by Lydia Parrish, 1942, Creative Age Press, Incorporated, New York. Deen Mohammed was a Muslim slave on the Sapelo Island plantation of a Thomas Spaulding. So if he hadn't been a Muslim, aware that he was a Muslim, he would be known as Spaulding. Maybe George Spaulding, William Spaulding, or Thomas Spaulding, or maybe L.T. Spaulding, C.D. Spaulding, C.J. Spaulding.
Break it down.
R.T. and L.T. Spaulding. He practiced Islamic habits of prayer and diet. All praise is due to Allah. He spoke the West African Fulani language, as well as English and French. 4 of his 7 daughters were named Fatima, after her mother, Yoruba, Medina, and Bintu. He was from Timbu, a city in Bambara Kingdom, and apparently he was a young law student at the time of his capture. As famous as Bilal, the first muezzin of Prophet Muhammad, as famous as that man was in the history of Islam, don't you know that there were many other Muslims of his hue who wanted his name? It's inconceivable that some Bilalian mothers, some African or black-skinned mothers, didn't name their babies Bilal. Here is historical proof that they did. And also here is historical proof that our slave ancestors, among them is Muslim Bilal. Now go back and study your history again. Go back and study black studies again. Believers, Muslim brothers and sisters, you people who embrace the healthy concepts that we embrace, I'm not railing at you. I'm speaking to those so-called black people. I don't care if they're not here. I'm trying to torture those that are in the grave. I hope my voice will go down and strike the earth and disturb those that are in the grave, who want to reject everything because their shallow vision of things and their limited intelligence didn't permit them to see the truth. Yes, Deen Mohammed. Bilal was an Ethiopian, and he was made a slave by Arab people. And it was the Arab people who freed him. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that a beautiful parallel? We were made slaves by the Christian Caucasian of the West, Europe and America. And it was the Christian Caucasian that said these people have to be freed. It was a heathen, idolatrous slave master that held Bilal. But it was a dignified man converted from idolatry by the name Abu Bakr, an Arab who became the first ruler after the passing of the great prophet, the universal prophet, Muhammad, may peace be upon him and all the righteous servants. This Abu Bakr, he went and paid the slave master that owned Bilal the ransom money. He demanded a big price, more than what was ordinarily asked for slaves. But Abu Bakr paid the price anyway and bought the freedom of Bilal. Later in the history of Bilal, Bilal was sad and weeping, and he didn't want to stay around Mecca and Medina because those places reminded him of his beloved friend, his emancipator, Prophet Muhammad, the prophet of Arabia, sent to all the world. So Bilal, he told Abu Bakr, I can't stay here any longer. I want to leave. He decided that he was going to Syria. And you know, Syria is a country that is not of a dark hue. The people are not of a dark hue. Their skins are not Kentucky coal black. Their skin look very much like Caucasian skin. In fact, by a scientific description or definition, they are Caucasian, the Syrian people. But Bilal wanted to go there, to Syria. And Bilal expressed this desire to his boss. Abu Bakr was the Khalifa. Now he's the ruler. When he bought paid for the ransom, the freedom of Bilal, he wasn't the ruler. He was just one paying to buy Bilal's freedom. But now he is the ruler. And Abu Bakr didn't want to let Bilal go. Abu Bakr put this question to him. Listen to it. He said, have you freed me that I should be the servant of Allah, or have you freed me that I should be your servant? Oh, that's prophetic. That's prophetic. Isn't that what we have been saying to the North for now more than 100 years? Since Abraham Lincoln, the Caucasian man who freed us from the physical slave grip of the South? Isn't that what we have been saying to the Northern American? Have you freed me that I should be your servant? Or have you freed me that I can be free as all other human beings are free? Study the history of Bilal, and if you don't see a prophetic figure resembling us, the whole people, a figure speaking to our problems and to our beautiful destiny, that we are not free to be possessed again by the one who freed us. We are free to go independently for ourselves. Yes, sir. As all other people are free to do. He was going to Syria. He went to Syria. He married there, and he was buried there. They built a masjid there for Bilal, or a mausoleum for Bilal. When the Syrian president and the Muslim community of Syria got the news that I had named our race Bilalian, they got busy to build a new masjid, a new mausoleum for Bilal. I don't care what religion I believed in. I don't care if I believed in something so foreign to what we believe in that it made me look like I didn't come from the same planet that the Muslims come from. Knowing that we share one history, we share one painful history and one glorious rise from that history. And we share one enduring spirit, the spirit to endure in human treatment and yet stand up as a human being and tell the inhuman races his shame. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Yes, isn't that beautiful? A people reduced to inhuman existence for 3 centuries rise up every time they're slain or crucified or lynched or shot down, rise up the next morning and say, you should be ashamed of yourself, you inhuman slave master, you torturing racist. Oh, I'm telling you, that's a thing to be proud of. We are people that have been burnt in the fire, tempered in the fire, and made rigid as a human being with a human spirit. And there's no diamond tool, there's no tool to break our rigidity. There's nothing to destroy our human form, because God, He has tempered us and formed us never to be broken. Never to be broken. Dear beloved Muslim, don't you know this is the glory of our history? Yes, the great victory for us in our history is not saying that I'm black or saying that I must have freedom. The great victory for us is saying that I'm still human after you've sent me through the mill that was designed to produce a monkey, a dog, a rat. I come out of the mill still in the human form. Allahu Akbar. Shut out of the environment that is conducive to healthy human growth. Denied culture, culturally deprived. Denied civilized kind of encouragement and inspiration. Denied the opportunity to sit in an environment of culturally uplifted people. Left off in the bad, poor, starved, neglected parts of the world, and shut off from the civilizing and culture-inspiring kinds of things that other people have. Is that right? This is our history. This is not the condition today, but this is what we have come through. We haven't been formed under the new day, or by the new day. We are people formed out of the old day. But in the new day, we don't have to be reformed, not as people loving the human spirit. We still want to embrace human beings. Right now, we can embrace any man, though he looks like the very one who lynched or tortured us or denied us freedom. We can embrace him if he proved to us that he is a human being and that he has no problems embracing us. That's the great victory. That's the great victory for us. We have not been reduced to animals, though we have been put in a factory that produces animals. That's right.